You're probably sitting there scrolling through endless generator listings, wondering if any of them will actually keep the lights on when the grid finally decides to quit. It's a real worry. You don't want to drop a few $100s on a machine that can't power your essential appliances, and you also don't want to end up with a noisy, fuel-guzzling behemoth that never fits in your garage. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's dig into the DuroMax XP15000HXT and see if it lives up to the hype for someone who needs serious backup power without buying a whole power plant. First off, the headline number 15,000 watts sounds impressive, and it is. In practice, that amount of power means you can run a typical home's essential circuits all at once: the refrigerator, a couple of sump pumps, a central air unit on low, and even a few lights and outlets for phones and laptops. I've walked through a few real-world scenarios with this generator in mind. Imagine a severe thunderstorm knocks out the grid for a day. With the XP15000HXT hooked up to a transfer switch, you could keep your kitchen running, preserve frozen food, and still have enough juice for a space heater or an electric water heater. That's the kind of coverage most homeowners look for when they say whole house backup. It's not a small portable unit you'd lug to a campsite. It's a serious, stationary backup that sits in your garage or basement, ready to take the load when the utility fails. One of the biggest draws here is the tri-fuel capability. You can run this thing on gasoline, propane, or natural gas, and the switch is as simple as turning a knob. For someone who already has a natural gas line in the house, you can hook it up and never worry about storing gasoline. If you live in an area where propane is cheaper or more reliable during winter, you can flip the valve and keep it running. The flexibility also adds a safety net. If you run out of one fuel type during an extended outage, you can switch to another without having to swap the whole generator. That's a practical advantage you don't see on many single fuel models. The push-button start and optional remote start are worth mentioning beyond the marketing fluff. In a real outage, you're often dealing with cold mornings and maybe limited visibility. Being able to crank the engine with a button, or even fire it up from inside the house with the remote, reduces the hassle of pulling a cord in the dark. The start is surprisingly smooth for a 500 cubic centimeters OHV engine of this size. It doesn't require a hard yank or a lot of fiddling with choke settings. The remote start adds a layer of convenience for those who have the generator tucked away in a garage. Just press the button on your wall panel and the unit fires up before you even step outside. Now, let's talk about the power panel. DuroMax has loaded the front with a fully featured control panel that shows voltage, frequency, run time, and even fuel level. The digital readout is clear enough to glance at without needing a flashlight, and the built-in circuit breakers let you protect each outlet group. For a homeowner who isn't a mechanic, this interface is a relief because you can monitor performance and spot potential issues before they become a problem. The advanced computer interface also includes a low oil shutdown, which helps protect the engine if you accidentally run it too long on low oil, a common rookie mistake. What about the downsides? The first thing that jumps out is the sheer size and weight. At around 500 pounds, you'll need a solid concrete pad or a sturdy garage floor to sit it on, and moving it requires a dolly and at least 2 strong people. If you were hoping for a generator you could easily wheel into a campsite or load onto a small pickup, this isn't it. The noise level is also something to keep in mind. A 15 kilowatts unit produces a noticeable hum, roughly 70 decibels at a 23-foot distance, louder than a normal conversation but comparable to a busy street. It's tolerable for a short-term outage, but if you're planning to run it continuously for several days, you'll want to position it away from bedrooms or outdoor living spaces. Fuel consumption is another practical consideration. At full load, the gasoline version can burn close to 12 gallons per hour. Even on propane, you're looking at several gallons per hour to keep the full 15 kilowatts output. If you have a long outage and you're not hooked up to natural gas, you'll need to have a sizable fuel reserve. That means planning ahead, storing gasoline safely, ensuring your propane tank is full, or confirming your natural gas line can handle the draw. It's not a flaw per se, but it does affect the total cost of ownership. So who should actually buy the XP15000HXT? If you're a homeowner in a region with frequent severe weather, and you have a dedicated space to mount a